Any idea? Any idea? Okay. Have you seen earlier antennas? I don't know in your lifetime have you seen or not. Say, most of you are 18, 19 years old. So I'm talking about 93, 94 and all. You must have been extremely small kids that time. You had one antenna with all protruding things which you used to keep on the terrace of your building, and at one point you will get the signal, and you used to only get the DD National and DD Metro, or only DD National to start with. So you had the regional broadcast way back in 1990. I'm talking up to 7 p.m. or something. Then you will get national broadcast. I think you may or may not be aware, because you must have been extremely young at that time. So I cannot blame you for that. So you had a one small antenna which protruding elements on top of the this one. So that was known as your Egi Uda array. So what the Egi Uda array? Okay, I'll just draw it. Are all of you are able to see this diagram?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Please write down. This is the reflector, active element, director, direction of maximum radiation. See, so far you have studied individual point sources. You have also studied short dipole and lambda by 2 dipole. So now what we are seeing is actual antenna elements which are used in practice, at least the basic ones, which will give you a fair idea how the antenna are designed, and hopefully it will help you in your career. Okay. Please write down some small story with respect to Uda and Yegi. Who are these people? Okay. Uda was an assistant professor in, it is the name of a person, okay, in Japan. He conducted series of experiments, series of experiments series of experiments on the use of parabolic elements on the use of parabolic elements way back in the year 1926. This led to publication of 11 articles from the year 1926 to 1929 in the Institute of Electrical Engineers. In the Institute of Electrical Engineers. Saurabh, but what is this Institute of Electrical Engineers? Did you know anything on this?
Sir, it is similar to IEEE, but
it is the father of IEEE.
yes.
See, before IEEE was known as IEE, Institute of Electrical Engineers. This IEE became IEEE when you became Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, and it also now encompasses computer science engineering. So now IEEE, we can't change the name further since it has been established as a brand. So we cannot write as Institute of Electrical, Electronics and Computer Science Engineering. So it should be IEECS. Okay. So that should have been the name. But somehow since the brand has been established, first it was IEEE, then IEEE, then computer science is now a very active part of the IEEE. So we call this as circuit branch. Your computer science engineering, power engineering, electronics engineering, communication engineering, all of us are one. Okay. Now, please, whenever you are working in a multidisciplinary environment in an industry, not a software industry, you are required to have the knowledge of electrical, electronics, computer science, programming, concepts, everything. If you are able to combine these two, you will be very high in your professional ladder. If you are not able to combine this with professionalism and professional behavior, you unfortunately will not reach the topmost point of the ladder. So this is what it is. Now I wanted to tell you this UDA has published 11 articles between 1926 1929. So on parabolic elements, do you know where all this parabolic elements done? See, apart from your EGI UDA, if you see your air traffic control, ATC, if you are going in aircraft, if your plane has to land safely without accidents, your ATC tower should be activated. Your ATC tower has a parabolic reflector antenna. This parabolic reflector antenna will get the signal from your transmitting transponder in your aircraft. That signal will be reflected back. Then your automated ALS system, automated landing system will be activated. Then you can put it in autopilot. Nowadays, very busy aircrafts such as New York, Bombay, everything have a automated landing system where pilots need not do anything. Okay, once the signal is got, you have the software taking control of the aircraft. Very dangerous part of it. what happens is once you get the signal, once it goes into this automated landing system, exact words I'm not getting. So it will just go in, the plane will start descending and it will go in the autopilot mode unless till the touchdown point, pilot will not touch any of the controls. He will keep your hands off. Because landing is a very, very, very strenuous exercise for a pilot, mentally straining. He can do mistakes in this. Recently, you have seen in Calicut, I think, an air crash happened. A former Air Force pilot, he was so stressed out that he did not have a sufficient sleep, and they overshoot the runway and it skidded off, and you had a major accident happening. So taking this kind of very major airports have these kind of systems wherein anyway all airports have this parabolic reflector antenna ATC throughout. So parabolic elements is a very important component of your radar system, your ATC system, everything. Actually, I have been discussing with the Wing Commander Rao to take you to at least Air Force Station Yelahanka to show you the ATC tower. Because of the COVID and our online presence, we are unable to do it right now, and I hope that at least by next semester we'll be able to do it. Am I right, Wing Commander Rao?
Yeah. I'm there.
Okay.
Fully agree with you, and we'll do it. Definitely, we'll do it.
Okay. Now, just to tell you, you have this parabolic antenna, so you have a transmitting system on the aircraft. Because of the technology, you might have had a very major accident. See, I do track the aviation sector. One of my friends is an Air India pilot. So he's my childhood friend. So I do get a lot of information. Airbus A380, it is one of the most advanced aircraft in the world. You don't have to fly it, it will fly on its own. Okay, it was a Qantas aircraft, A380, I think in the year 2016, there are 4 or 5 pilots for flying A380, Airbus A380. You have 4 pilots, 4 in the rest. So you have 8 cabin crew there. Okay, you will have 3 co-pilots, 1 pilot. Sorry, 2 co-pilots, 1 pilot, 1 navigator. So this is the composition of A380 flying team along with 4 more rest crew. Because the flying hours will be 14 to 16 hours. So this Qantas aircraft was going to Australia. It has landed in Singapore. If it was offline classes, I would have told you in detail. So what has happened is once it was airborne, one of the engines caught fire. Because the engines caught fire, the sensors around the wing got damaged. So the pilot got 36,000 error messages, believe it or not, in his computer screen. Okay, there is no manual override option. 3 engines are still functional and they can safely fly the aircraft. You have 4 engines in A380 configuration. So the pilot got 36,000 error messages. The entire support team of 4 pilots who were sleeping in the first class cabin also came up. They had no idea what is happening because pilots are not technically so competent. They are just getting the error messages. They don't know what is to be done. Whether the engine is failing because hydraulics failed, radar systems failed, everything failing because sensors are failing. So they are losing the control of the aircraft. So the Airbus A380 engineer, Qantas contact their Qantas team. The Airbus A380 engineer was contacted in New York in the middle of the night. This is a practical problem I'm telling you. Who has designed this? He is the chief engineer for the technical engineer. This was when A380 was just launched. He was told these 36 error messages are coming. What is to be done? He is asking what is that error message 1? What is it? He's seeing the manual that time. Is it possible for him to control remotely 36,000 error messages? The lives of 450 passengers were on stake apart from the crew there. So this crew had to reverse the flight from, it was flying from Singapore to Australia, reverse it, come back to Singapore. Please remember they had to operate the plane manually against the computer. So the computer was acting exactly opposite to what they are doing. they have somehow turned the plane. They could not jettison the fuel. Means before landing, you have to empty the fuel tanks. Otherwise, the plane will catch fire. The weight of the aircraft will be too much, and they can't land at that. Landing speed will increase. So your distance of the runway should be more. So they could not empty the fuel tanks because that function is not operating. The landing speed is around 281 kilometers per hour. This landing speed touched at 330 kilometers per hour. That is very high speed. Tire burst. Okay, there was smokes from the tire. Finally, that aircraft landed. Nobody was allowed to get down from the aircraft because there was a huge risk of fire accident. All the pilots had stress fracture because they were working against the computer. Their hands and legs, their legs had stress fracture. That is the competence of those pilots to get this down. So you can't totally rely on technology. That is what I'm trying to tell. But all this again relies on this parabolic reflector antenna. You got my point. So this is the importance of what we are studying now. This parabolic reflector antenna is being used for this Yagi-Uda array. Okay, is it clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything you would like to ask me? Okay. Please write down. Pattern and gains with a single parabolic element as director is limited. Okay, this director is not your film director. I will tell you. Okay, this is not your film director. You will be telling what director Dr. Narayan is writing today. This is not your film director. Okay. Okay. Uda found highest gain Okay, I will just tell you, if you want to work on such antenna systems in civil, you can join Airport Authority of India if you want to become an ATC controller. Okay, Airport Authority of India, AAI, lambda by 2 dipole antenna. From the driven element. The best director length was found to be 10% less than the length of lambda by 2 antenna. Okay. With the spacing of lambda by 3 between the director and the driven element. Okay. Okay. Now comes the interesting story. Please write down. Yagi was another scientist. You should know this. And was working as professor at the same university and 10 years senior to Uda. Is my writing clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, and presented a paper on projection of sharpest beams. Projection of sharpest beam of electrical waves in year 1926. Okay, basically Yagi Uda array, you can call this as Yagi Uda or Yagi Uda, whichever you want. Indians we call as Yagi Uda. Yagi Uda is also fine. Consists of one active element and few parasitic elements. Parasitic elements. Okay. The active element is usually a folded dipole, folded dipole antenna, folded dipole antenna of length lambda by 2. The parabolic element consists of one reflector, and one director. The length of the reflector is greater than the driven element and is placed behind the active element active element. Okay, whereas the director is placed in front of the active element. And is shorter than the active element. Okay. Please write down this figure now. Okay, let me, before going forward, this is the active element. Active element means, what do you mean by active element? Here, for this element, this is nothing but your normal lambda by 2 dipole antenna, which we just studied in your earlier module. This active element is center fed by some current some kind of electromagnetic source, and this active element will radiate electromagnetic energy like your lambda by 2 antenna. Is it clear? So this active element on its own is an antenna. Is it clear? Yes, can someone respond?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay. So the active element on its own is a lambda by 2 antenna. So this one, so I'll write in a different color. So this, sorry. So this is nothing but your lambda by 2 antenna. This one. So this is your lambda by 2 antenna. Now this itself will radiate power. Now what UDA did was he kept a reflector behind the active element. He kept the reflector behind the active element. But what he found is he could make the beam unidirectional. Can you see the direction of maximum radiation? Otherwise, what will happen is this beam will end up going everywhere. So you keep a reflector behind the active element. This reflector need not be straight. It can be a parabolic shape. So once you keep a reflector behind the active element, the electromagnetic radiation is what to say directed towards a particular direction. Directed towards a particular direction. This reflector element is always longer than the active element. Then you have what is known as a director here. This director element will further reinforce the electromagnetic waves to go in a particular direction. This director is smaller than your active element or shorter than the active element, and your reflector is always larger than the active element. Why it should be large? So that the EM waves do not go in the backward direction, and it always goes in a unidirectional path. So this the use of this parabolic reflector is to ensure that the electromagnetic radiation from your folded dipole lambda by 2 antenna or any of that antenna for that matter is directed towards the direction of maximum radiation or in a unidirectional radiation pattern. The point of using director in this case in front of the active element is to further increase the gain of the antenna. Is to further increase the gain of the antenna. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is the use of the parabolic reflector and the director?
Sir, reflector is used to reflect back the radiations radiated by the active element.
Yes.
And director is used to increase the gain, sir.
Yes. Correct. So the reflector was found by Egi. Sorry, UDA. So UDA was the person who found the parabolic reflector. Your director was found by Egi. So that is why it was known as the Egi-UDA array. This is what is known as joint research. Okay. See, whatever we are at this point of time in space in 2021 is because of the research which has happened from the past 100 years. Without research, there is no life, literally. So we would have been in Stone Age. So all the research happens especially in your electromagnetic field theory, because of which we have achieved so many things in our comfort. We are able to fly safely in the aircrafts. And because, unfortunately, because of technology, so many bad things happened. World War II started because of the invention of radar. Okay, if the radar and the electromagnetic wave, how to use, we have not invented, Germany never would have invaded so many countries and started the World War II in the first place. So that is one unfortunate outcome of this, because all these discoveries were happening during that time, 1926, 1930, 1935, during that time. During that time, if you have to publish a research paper, you have to write the paper manually, literally. Post it during those time. If you want to publish a paper in US journal, you have to post it. It will go in a steamer. It will reach to that editorial office 1 month after you post it. Then that editorial office will read it. Then he will give it to a set of reviewers. That will take another 6 months. Then that review comments, he will send it by ship. Then it has to come back to you. Then you have to open and read it. Then you have to respond 1 month time gap again going back in ship. This is how research papers were published. It used to take 3 or 4 years to publish a paper. Nowadays, you have electronic mail. You just send, it will be reviewed within 2-3 months and it will be sent back and you will get a publication. So that was not the case. And just to tell you, even now, if you want to publish an IEEE transaction, it takes 18 months. Because they are still maintaining that quality standard. The review process takes a lot of time and you have to reply to the reviewers' comments. So it has shortened to 18 months during the, if you are in 1930s, it will take 7 years. So that is how researchers used to struggle at that time. And because without research, there is no life. I'm telling you now. That is why I always harp on research. Now, coming back to technology, this is how you understand antenna, how they are able to work, how the electromagnetic waves are being used in applications. Okay, now how you can contribute to this is, if you want to make a career out of it, take up GATE examination, then you can either do higher studies or you can join government organizations like Airport Authority of India or similar organizations. I hope I make myself very clear. And recently there is a lot of advent of machine learning and artificial intelligence. That is why my batch of students I am now guiding in machine learning to be in pace with the technology. I am learning machine learning from a certification course from IIT Roorkee. That I am trying to learn at this age where I have achieved everything. So learning never stops. Okay, so the next semester I am also planning to offer you an elective known as machine learning, apart from the MEMS which I usually offer, because machine learning has a lot of potential now. If you know machine learning, you will be at least a lakpati if you are not a millionaire. Okay, that much I can tell you. How machine learning can be used for antenna also, I'll tell you later if time permits. Anything you want to ask me, or can I go forward? So the director, the point of using director is to increase the gain of the antenna. The point of using reflector is to make the electromagnetic waves as unidirectional. Okay. Fine. Anything you would like to ask anyone? Now please take down this modified or the modern Egiuda array. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is the now going to be the future applications of Egiuda array? By the time I draw, I want some discussion. Saurabh, but where is Egiuda array used now, first of all? Saurabh, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You are there or not there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are very much there. Please tell me, where do you think Egiuda array can be used?
So I think it is generally used by these hands. There is amateur radio operators.
Yes. Come.
And they may be using radars as well.
No, radars, you have only the parabolic antenna principle, not the Egiuda principle is not used for radar. It was used for television for a very long purpose, for transmitting television signals. You are using on top of your rooftops.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So that was the main application of Egiuda array. Now, where do you think is the application in modern future? In the foreseeable future?
it can be used in autonomous driving vehicles.
Pardon?
They may be used in autonomous driving vehicles to remotely.
Okay, very good. Please give this idea to Elon Musk. So I think you can join Tesla. So far we have not used it, but I'm real. It is not a bad idea either. So apart from that, one other application is there which you are unable to discuss right now. Anything which is coming to your mind?
LiDAR technology.
Okay, can you more highlight that? Kainak Sharma, the great. Okay, but tell me, you should not have you tell one word and then.
Yes, sir. Trying, sir.
See, all of you people should love technology. Okay, you are all going to be engineers, and you can't be only restricted to the VTU syllabus. What is being done? See, if you are going to be restricted with the restrictions of the syllabus, yeah, your professional careers will be restricted accordingly. See, careers you are required to make. I can't make your career. I can guide you in the career path. Wireless transmission of power is the latest application of your EGI-UDA array, and it has been tried in New Zealand. Now you have electrical wires, you have electrical wires transmitting power. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So you can have a situation where you will have power supply without electrical wires. Can you imagine that? Okay, how is that? To have without power problems. Without wires, power supply. Yes, Purva Chandra Prakash, you are totally silent today. You are not well. Are you there? Okay, Mahima, please tell me. Wireless transmission of power. Have you ever heard of it?
Sir, we had shared a video earlier, sir. From that, we had heard of the wireless
Yes, very good. At least you have seen that video. Thank you, Mahima. Wireless transmission of power is a new thing. So if you are able to do this, power problems throughout the world will come to an end. So what are the challenges in wireless power transmission?
So transmitting the power for long distances.
Yes, correct. You will end up getting shock everywhere if you had wireless power transmission actually happening right now. So that is a challenge, but nothing is impossible in the modern world. Okay. Have you heard an application known as Signal now?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Mahima?
Sir, the inventors who invented WhatsApp, after they sold it to Facebook, they are the ones who started the Signal app, sir.
Are you very sure?
Yes, sir.
Signal is owned by one billionaire known as Elon Musk, who is the richest person in the world. Okay, some people from WhatsApp might have gone to Signal, but as per my understanding, it's a rival company to WhatsApp. Okay,
Yes,
so there is a lot of piracy problem right now in WhatsApp. See, whatever you share in WhatsApp, if it is linked to Facebook, So Facebook, we can do one profiling of suppose Dr. Narayan. They will do a psychological profiling of Narayan and find out how Narayan will behave. Okay. If all the information in my Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, everything is leaked, you give it your artificial intelligence machine learning software, it will going to do a psychological prediction of what is going to be my next action or how my post will come. I can literally make another humanoid person similar to my characteristics. Okay, this is what is going to happen. It was well projected in one Hollywood movie where artificial intelligence takes over the entire security of the city, and person has to fight with that because the entire data is shared with that. So the data sharing privacy is a big problem right now. So Signal is promising it won't happen. So from WhatsApp, Signal switch over to Signal. So this is the latest thing. So I'm just telling some technology point. Okay, please write down this. This is the one of the more practically used AGI-OODA array. It consists of a two-wire fold. Okay, it consists of a driven element driven by a two-wire antenna, a reflector, 4 directors. Okay, 4 directors is to increase the gain of the antenna. Each director will be less than other. So this is one practical AGI-OODA array which we use for the television signaling capturing. Okay. Okay. Then please write down some important points. The magnitude of the current in the parabolic element and its phase relation to the current in the driven element depends on its tuning depends on its tuning. Okay. Next point. The narrow beams of short waves by a guiding action of using multi-director periodic structure which is known as a wave canal. Such phenomena can be used for short distance power transmission. This idea can be used for beaming solar power to Earth from space station. So now, suppose NASA sends one space craft to Mars. How is the power supply given to it? Any idea?
Solar powered or through its engines.
Pardon, come again.
It's either solar powered
Ah,
or maybe through its engines.
the engine has got some limited fuel. It will just boost up the power to escape the Earth's atmosphere. Then it's on its own. So you have some kind of batteries to power its electronics, and it has some set of solar panels which will capture that. Now the problem with the solar panels, it has to be always mounted towards the sun, and then enough power will not be transmitted to run the engines. So very simple exercise. You have batteries in your house, UPS. So what happens is, if the UPS is, can it power on your AC? Very simple question.
No, sir.
Okay. So your battery technology cannot power on your AC. See, you need a proper high current source, high voltage source supply to run these kind of engines. So that kind of power supply is needed is anonymous. Suppose you have a huge transmitting antenna which will emit megawatts of power at your ground station. That can be transmitted right up to your spaceship to power it, but it's a very, very, very long drawn short of technology which I am talking right now. It won't be possible. In the foreseeable future, such kind of technology is what I'm talking. Although it is very feasible, although logically it is feasible, technically it is quite not feasible right now. So that's a very long shot technology I'm talking. Maybe in your lifetime you may be able to see it, if not in my lifetime. So such technologies where you need not have anything. See, now cars are running on batteries. You have electric cars running on batteries. Suppose you have an antenna on top of your car, and that antenna can take the power wirelessly. If the battery suddenly gets dead, you have to go and find a charging station. So suppose you have an antenna, it will take the continuous power from somewhere, some feeding point, and it will charge the battery. Isn't that these kind of the technologies what we are looking at future? That is why we need research. I am not doing research in this area, but since I am a technological enthusiast, I keep on reading articles. So this is what is going to be the future. Maybe in your lifetime, another 30-40 years, we can imagine this kind of technology, not earlier to 20 years from now on. Anything else you would like to ask? So that is your Iggy Uda array. I think Dr. Venkatesh has done some problems on this. I'll just see if there are any problems appearing in the VTU examination question paper. See, this is what is Iggy Uda array, which he has also done. Same thing I have also done. Reflector, this one, okay. some of the it is used some of the applications is used for high frequency transmitting antenna for TV broadcasting. It is used for applications where it requires excellent front to back ratio. Okay, so please write down. This is the six. These are the design equations for the Eguda array. These are used for the solving the problems. The length of the reflector is 152 divided by frequency in megahertz. Length of the driven element, length of the reflector LR is 152 divided by frequency in megahertz. Length of the driven element is 143 divided by frequency in megahertz. Length of the director, driven elements, director is 137 by frequency in megahertz. So director 1, director 2, director 3, director 4, like this. Means there are no 4 film directors there. This will be D1, D2, D3, D4. Is it clear? D1, D2, D3, D4. So those are the 4 directors what he is talking about in this formula. Reflector is this one. This is your reflector. This is your driven element or the active element. Okay. Reflector is the driven element, that is your active element. So these are the 4 things. Then spacing between the driven reflector and the driven elements. Spacing between the reflector and the driven element, which is that spacing between the reflector and the driven element. This is the spacing between the reflector and the driven element. So that is 75 divided by frequency. Spacing between the driven element and the director. Driven element and the director, that is driven element and the director. This is spacing. So these are some numbers. See, for example, 126, 193, all this you have to remember. Suddenly, if at all, there may be one question asked. So there is a simple question. Design an Eguda antenna having a 6 element to provide a gain of 12 dB. If the operating frequency is 200 megahertz, sketches radiation pattern. So this is your length of the reflector. Using this formula, he has found length of the director, length of the driven element, length of the director 1, director 2, director 3, director 4, distance between the reflector and the director, distance between the driven element and the reflector. So after finding all this, this is what he has drawn. So your radiation pattern will be unidirectional like this. So this is what is the problem which is going to be asked. Any questions on this? This is there in your page 15 and 16 of your notes. Problem on Eguda array. Anything you would like to ask? Anything you would like to ask? Yes, anyone? Okay. Next type of antenna which I will quickly go through if you have understood Eguda array is log periodic array. Log periodic antenna is a broadside antenna in which the geometry of the antenna structure is adjusted such that all the electrical properties of the antenna are repeated periodically with the logarithm of the frequency. Well, all the properties of the antenna are repeated with the logarithm of the frequency. This is the diagram for a log periodic array. So this is the directive region, resonance region, and reflective region, similar to Eguda array, except that you have antennas which are you don't have directors and reflectors here. You have elements in the array which are interconnected in a kind of log periodic arrangement. So depending upon the length of the dipoles, we get 3 regions, namely inactive region, active region, and inactive stop band region, that is the inductive region. So these are the 3 regions what we get in the log periodic array. He has nicely given some notes on this log periodic array, and there are some design equations for log periodic array. The number of elements in the array is related to FU and FL, which is given by log of FU minus log of FL. That is n minus 1 log of 1 upon tau, where tau is known as the design factor and should be less than 1. And tau is given as Ln divided by Ln plus 1. and there is one more, an angle alpha. This angle alpha, which is given by tan inverse of 1 minus tau 4 of sk, where sk is nothing but the spacing factor. So if you have, there is one problem which has appeared in the log periodic array, depending upon the formula which was used earlier. So you can just go through this till here. This upper cutoff frequency and all is not needed. These problems on log periodic array are little rare, but you can go through this. Yagi-Uda array is much simpler. Okay, there is one more problem which he has done on log periodic array. Design a log periodic dipole antenna having a directivity of 8.5 dB or a frequency range of 10 megahertz to 30 megahertz. So from the given data, the number of elements in the array is log of fu minus log of that fl minus n minus 1 or log of 1 upon tau. From the given data, fu, that is the upper band, is 30 megahertz. Fl is the lower band of the frequency range is 10 megahertz. Tau, that is the design factor, is taken as tau as 0.895. So log of 30 megahertz minus log of 10 megahertz is n minus 1 log of 1 upon tau. Tau is your design factor given as 0.895. So n minus 1 is log of 30 megahertz minus 10 megahertz divided by log of 1 upon n. This one. So the number of elements in the array will be approximately equal to 11. I think this kind of problems are much simpler. So you can just go through this problem. That is your upper cutoff frequency, lower cutoff frequency, design component tau. Is it clear? Very simple. These problems are highly scoring. Do not leave it. Anything you want me to repeat? Yes, Saurabh, but is it clear? I think he has left the meeting. You are very much there. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have made you understand the concept of, so today's class we are coming to an end. So today we have understood the concept of what? Yagi-Uda array, problems based on Yagi-Uda array, log periodic array, which is a kind of extension of Yagi-Uda array with some formulas are there for both Yagi-Uda array, log periodic array. Please practice the problems related to Yagi-Uda array and log periodic array. We have understood in detail the concept of Yagi-Uda array, what are the present applications and future applications of Yagi-Uda array. So similar thing you can even think of for log periodic array. So this is what I have started today. Your Yagi-Uda array, so log periodic array, Yagi-Uda array is there in the syllabus. Log periodic array is not explicitly told. Okay, it is there here. So Yagi-Uda array and log periodic array I have finished. Next, I will see whichever is easier. I will try to finish this module 5. Another one, at least I need 5 to 6 classes like this to have some kind of control over module 5. Anything you would like to ask me before we end the class for the day?